guys, how's it going? Alright, time to finally get around to having a bit of a look at this MVS motherboard. Now this particular video is going to be kind of short because we're going to start pretty easy and work our way up. Now when you get one of these MVS motherboards, they have a drum battery on them, and what this video is going to be about is getting rid of that and putting something else in. Now don't know how well you can see, but just under there, that's where it lives there, so we need to take our housing and everything off for our cartridge holder. What happens with these and why you need to replace them, and most people will tell you to replace them as soon as you get one of these boards, is because these batteries have a bit of a habit of leaking, and of course the acid that comes out ends up corroding the tracks and you end up with either a stuffed motherboard or a lot of work to do all of a sudden. Now one of the main reasons that this happens is, well, age is one. I mean, nothing lasts forever, of course, but the other thing that happens with these batteries is they're designed to be in a proper MVS cabinet where basically it's running, you know, 8 hours a day, 24 hours a day, or, you know, long periods. So it has, you know, it's constantly charging and kept active. And when you look at consolising one of these boards, you're only going to use it periodically. I mean, there aren't many of us out there that turn on our I don't know, a Mega Drive and leave it running for 8 hours every day. So yeah, it does cause them to go a bit funny with age and they start leaking. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that. Now this video is a little bit delayed because I had a YouTube user tell me to use a super cap instead of the coin type battery that I'm going to use. Now I tried very hard to get one of these super caps, and to be honest, it just didn't work out for me. I found a place in Australia that sold them, and very friendly. They had plenty of stock, but the problem is that I had to place a minimum order. I couldn't just get one. I had to order, I think it was 5 or 6 to meet their minimum requirements, and then after about a week they got back to me with the shipping cost, and the shipping cost actually more than the batteries. Or sorry, capacitors in this case. So it didn't work, and I thought never mind, we'll just stick to plan A. So plan A is going to be taking that battery out and putting a battery holder in, and using the CR2032 batteries that you commonly find in PCs. Which brings me to my next point. A lot of guys who are starting out doing mods, what I've suggested to them is to go and grab an old PC motherboard, because the layout is very similar to these, the Sega Mega Drive, the Master System. Like the size of the soldering points is very similar. So if you've got an old wrecked PC motherboard, instead of throwing it out, you could use it to practice on. You know, practice soldering before you start working on your pride and joy. But the other thing that they're good for as well is robbing parts off. So I'm going to pop this out of the way, and we'll find ourselves a motherboard. So I've got a few to choose from, unfortunately. Just go through here quickly. Basically, this is what we want, one of these. Now, you can buy these from eBay, from a lot of the electronic suppliers. You don't have to go and tear your favourite computer apart. I'm just saying, you know, let's recycle. These are the exact right size. One tip though is pop the battery out first before you start soldering. These don't like having a lot of heat applied to them. And very easy when you look at the back of it. We've got basically, it's only 2 legs that actually hold them in place. And this particular one, we've got one leg there and the other leg is up over here. So desolder those and out comes your battery holder. And yeah, then we're away. So what I'll do is I'll get all this rubbish out of the way and we'll get into it. Alright guys, after a bit of careful deliberation, I have made my choice. I am going to steal one off this poor old Pentium motherboard. For anyone that remembers those, the original Intel Pentiums there. And if you haven't worked on one of these little battery holders before, just get yourself a little flat blade, and there's a little tab at the back. So we just put a bit of pressure onto there, and away goes our battery. Alright, so we'll flip this over and get you zoomed in, and we'll get it desoldered. Okay guys, so you should be able to find your soldering points pretty easy. 2 big legs here. Now, something that the few YouTubers that have taken my advice and started working on these boards have found, you'll find that any leg on here that's connected to the ground points needs a lot of heat to let go. So we'll do our usual trick and we shall apply some solder to them, get it nice and loose. Alright, and now we just need to desolder. So this time, for a bit of a change, I'm going to get out the old solder pump here. You can use the braid if you've gone and stockpiled on that. And what all we're going to do is just apply some heat so it gets nice and fluid, and then press the button. Okay, first leg done. Just get the sequence of heat. Alright, so looking at the top of the board, there we go, that's it. There is our new, where are we? There we are. Here's our new donor battery holder. So 2 little legs, nice and easy. So, time to get into the NeoGeo. Alright, so time to work on our NeoGeo board. So basically this cartridge guide here is held on just by some screws that are, there's some on the back here. You'll see them very easy, there's not really much hiding in these. They're held on by the PCB legs basically, so just go around and undo all those, and then we should be able to very carefully lift this out. So I'll just go ahead and get these undone and I'll be back in a second. Alright guys, now we've got our cartridge guide out of the way, we can see our battery here. So this is all sealed up. Now I'm actually quite lucky, this one's in pretty good condition by the looks of it. It hasn't really let go, but basically what you want to do is have a look at the legs, make sure it hasn't already rotted out and destroyed any tracks or anything going under it, and once it's all good we'll go and cut this out. Now just while we're looking at this, I mentioned a moment ago about a super cap and I didn't actually go into explaining what that was. So if you guys want to go through the hassle of getting one, they're actually a really good idea. They're completely sealed and they're rechargeable, and they're basically a capacitor, but a very high capacity one. And they're about the same size, well the one you want anyway, is about the same size as this, and with all the capacitors we've used in the past have all been microfarads, and the capacitor that I was trying to buy was 1 farad, so it actually had a lot of charge, and from what I've read, it will hold your settings for about 3 months. And of course every time you power up the machine, it recharges, so you never have to worry about changing the battery, and because they're a fully sealed dry type unit, there's no worry about leaking battery acid anywhere. So they're actually a really excellent alternative, and I highly suggest you do look into them, but yeah, just be aware they might be a little bit difficult to track down. I could find some locally that were, well basically they were a different form factor, they were a different size, different shape, had different capacities, and because we don't actually have a lot of room here, it is kind of important to sort of get one that's going to be, I think, one of these 20 centimetre diameter, something like that. Have a quick measure maybe first, but yeah. Alright, anyway, so what we'll do is we'll carry on and get this desoldered. So I'm just going to flip the board over and get you zoomed in. Alright, now this is a bit where this looks a little bit yuck, but on this particular motherboard, and I think a lot of the MVSs have it, they've got this this covering over where the battery is actually put. So what we do is we're just going to lift this up and just pick away a bit of this rubbery type stuff, and I'm going to desolder these legs, get the new battery soldered in, and then I'm actually going to glue this back down. Or you could just carefully trim it, but if you're going to use a razor blade or something like that, be very careful not to cut through any tracks. So we shall apply some solder to these legs so it comes off nice and easy. Give it a quick freshen up. Alright, and try our solder pump again. Okay, that's one, and we'll just try this one here. Okay, so now we've got the solder out of the way. The other thing we're going to do is just very carefully with our screwdriver here, just put under the hot glue a little bit of pressure and just sort of wiggle it, as you can see. Try not to, you don't want to dig into the board, but we do have to very carefully get this glue to let go. take your time and work at it. You can see our batteries getting ready to give. Okay, so that's our first piece out of the way because we need the surface flat for our new battery to go into. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit of heat onto this leg just to persuade it to come out nicely. And there we go. Once we get focus back, that's just going to sit in there like that. Alright, one last thing we need to do. For the more observant of you, you would have realised that this battery, as I said, is rechargeable. And unless you're going to get the Dreamcast style versions of these, and even then it's not a good idea, you're going to be using non-rechargeable batteries in this. So we need to stop it charging. But it's okay, there is a solution and it's very easy. And all we need to do is this. Basically, I've just rotated the board around here, but if you look here, there's two 10k resistors, and then just offset from that is a 470 must be ohm resistor. Either way, it's got 470 marked there. So that resistor there, that's what's basically allowing our charge to come through. So you've got a choice. You can either just cut this resistor off or you can desolder it. I'm probably going to actually desolder it, so we'll get into doing that now. So I'm just going to spin this back around because it's a bit awkward for me on this angle, and yeah, we'll get this pulled out. Alright, so we'll get this resistor desoldered. Now I'm going to try the cheats way here. Instead of cutting more of this this padding away from underneath it, I'm going to see if I can't pop this out from the top. Okay, so that's our charging circuit now disabled. So only thing left to do is pop our battery holder in. And with these, when you look at the battery holders, the piece that's touching the underside, that's where the negative is on our battery. So it's that leg there. That's our negative. Now it's connected up. And the piece on the side here, that's touching the top of the battery, and the top of the battery is our positive. Okay, so we want our positive leg to go down into there, and a negative leg into there, so it just sits in place just nicely like that. And now we just flip it over and solder it up. So almost finished, guys. Alright, kind of hard to see there, guys, sorry about that, but I have to assure you that the legs have popped through. So what I'm going to do now is just basically fill the holes back in with some solder, just a little bit started, and we'll push our battery holder back up. Repeat for the positive leg. Okay. So even if you're not consolising this, it's a good idea to do this, but flip that back over and there you go. That's our battery holder all in and ready to go. Okay, so we've got our battery holder all installed now, so the only thing we need to do is go and get ourselves a nice new battery and clip that in. And that is the end of our mod. Well, the end of the beginning of it. See, I'm going to be continuing on with this and consolising it, so making it useful in the home. But guys, even if you've got one of these boards and you're using it in your arcade cabinet, if you haven't got that battery out, please go and have a look at it. It could end up being a bit fatal. Now, I need to point out too that this motherboard, see if I can move it around so you can see. There we go. This is an MV1F. Now, unfortunately, NeoGeo or SNK, like Sega, like Nintendo, made multiple revisions of their boards. So this mod is for this board. If you look at your board and it is different, the battery's different, it's in a different place, or it doesn't have the resistor, or if there's anything different, don't use this guide, you're going to need to do it differently. So feel free though to get in touch with me. I can put you onto some excellent websites actually, which will show you the way. So that's it for now, guys. Next up, we're going to be looking at tackling some of the more difficult stuff like adding a video encoder and, well, yeah, consolising it. So thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll, yeah, we'll be seeing you again real soon.